Naval power and its decisive role in the Punic Wars. The Punic Wars, 264 to 146 BCE, between Rome and Carthage were some of the most pivotal conflicts in ancient history, fundamentally shaping the future of the Mediterranean world. One of the most critical aspects of these wars was the role of naval power, which played a decisive part in determining the outcome of the wars. While Carthage entered the Punic Wars with a highly experienced and dominant navy, Rome quickly adapted and built its own formidable naval force, ultimately challenging and surpassing Carthage's maritime supremacy. This analysis explores the role of naval power in the Punic Wars, examining how it influenced key battles, strategies, and ultimately the fate of both Rome and Carthage. 1. Carthage's naval dominance before the wars. Before the First Punic War, Carthage was the unrivaled naval power in the Western Mediterranean. Its wealth and influence were built on its maritime prowess, which allowed it to control key trade routes and maintain a commercial empire stretching from North Africa to Sicily, Sardinia, Corsica, and Spain. Carthage's maritime strength. Carthage's strength lay in its powerful navy, which was composed of highly skilled sailors and advanced warships, including quinquiremes, large vessels with 5 rows of oars that were well-suited for ramming enemy ships. Experience at sea. Carthaginian sailors were well-trained and experienced in naval combat, having developed expertise in maneuvering ships in tight formations and using them to ram enemy vessels. Their ability to protect trade routes and project power across the Mediterranean was unmatched by any other power at the time. Control of trade routes. Carthage's naval supremacy allowed it to dominate trade in the Mediterranean. Carthaginian merchants controlled the flow of valuable resources such as metals, grain, and luxury goods, contributing to the city's immense wealth and power. 2. The First Punic War, 264 to 241 BCE, Rome's naval transformation. The First Punic War was a watershed moment in Roman military history, as it marked the beginning of Rome's naval ambitions. When the war began, Rome had little experience in naval warfare, while Carthage had a strong, well-established fleet. However, the strategic importance of Sicily, the main battleground, compelled Rome to build a navy and challenge Carthage at sea. Rome's rapid naval expansion. To compete with Carthage's naval superiority, Rome embarked on a massive shipbuilding campaign. Despite lacking naval experience, Rome used captured Carthaginian ships as models and built a fleet that could compete with Carthage's seasoned navy. The quinquireme. Rome modeled its ships after the Carthaginian quinquireme, constructing over 100 warships in a short period. This ambitious naval buildup allowed Rome to engage Carthage at sea, even though Roman sailors were initially inexperienced. The innovation of the corvus. One of the key innovations that allowed Rome to overcome Carthage's naval advantage was the development of the corvus, Latin for crow. The corvus was a boarding bridge with a spike at the end that could be dropped onto enemy ships, allowing Roman soldiers to board and engage in hand-to-hand combat. Naval battles turned into infantry engagements. Rome's strength lay in its highly disciplined legions, so the corvus allowed Roman ships to neutralize Carthage's superior maneuverability by turning naval battles into infantry engagements, where Roman soldiers excelled. The Battle of Mylae, 260 BCE, the first major test of the corvus came at the Battle of Mylae, where the Roman fleet, commanded by Gaius Duilius, achieved a stunning victory. By using the corvus to board and capture Carthaginian ships, Rome won its first significant naval engagement, marking a turning point in the war, the Battle of the Aegates Islands, 241 BCE. The final and decisive naval battle of the First Punic War was the Battle of the Aegates Islands in 241 BCE. After years of stalemate, both sides were exhausted, but Rome rebuilt its fleet and launched a final assault on Carthage's navy. Roman victory. Rome's fleet, under Gaius Lutatius Catullus, intercepted a Carthaginian supply convoy near the Aegates Islands. The Romans decisively defeated the Carthaginian fleet, sinking or capturing many ships. This victory forced Carthage to sue for peace, marking the end of the First Punic War. Impact of the First Punic War on naval power. The First Punic War fundamentally altered the balance of naval power in the Mediterranean. Carthage, once the dominant maritime force, was forced to cede control of Sicily to Rome and pay a large indemnity. More importantly, Carthage lost much of its naval supremacy, while Rome emerged as a formidable naval power with a growing fleet. 3. The Second Punic War, 218 to 201 BCE, Hannibal's overland strategy. While the Second Punic War is primarily remembered for Hannibal's land campaigns in Italy, naval power continued to play a crucial role, particularly in the Mediterranean and the Iberian Peninsula. Although Hannibal's strategy focused on invading Italy by land, the war also involved key naval engagements that influenced the overall outcome. Carthage's weakening naval position. After its defeat in the First Punic War, Carthage's navy was significantly weakened, and it struggled to regain its former dominance at sea. Rome, meanwhile, had expanded its naval capabilities and was able to control key maritime routes, limiting Carthage's ability to project power beyond North Africa and Spain. Hannibal's dependence on overland logistics. Hannibal's decision to march over the Alps into Italy was partly driven by Carthage's inability to challenge Rome at sea. Without naval superiority, Hannibal relied on overland supply lines from Spain, which became increasingly vulnerable as Rome gained control of the seas. Roman blockades and naval control. Rome used its navy to blockade key Carthaginian ports and disrupt Hannibal's supply lines. The Roman navy's ability to control the Mediterranean limited Carthage's ability to reinforce and resupply Hannibal's army in Italy. Naval operations in Spain. While Hannibal fought in Italy, naval power played a critical role in the Roman campaign to wrest control of Spain from Carthage. Scipio Africanus in Spain. The Roman general Scipio Africanus conducted a successful campaign in Spain, capturing Carthago Nova, modern-day Cartagena, in 209 BC. Control of this key naval base allowed Rome to dominate the western Mediterranean and cut off Hannibal's supply lines from Spain. The importance of naval logistics. By securing Spain, Rome effectively deprived Carthage of a major source of manpower and resources. This naval control allowed Rome to isolate Hannibal in Italy and force Carthage to defend its homeland. 4. The Third Punic War, 149 to 146 BCE, the final destruction of Carthage. By the time of the Third Punic War, Carthage was no longer a significant naval power. The once mighty Carthaginian fleet had been drastically reduced by the terms of the peace treaty after the Second Punic War. Despite its weakened state, Carthage's defiance of Rome led to its final destruction in 146 BCE. Rome's naval blockade. The Third Punic War was defined by Rome's relentless siege of Carthage. Rome's naval superiority allowed it to establish a blockade, cutting off Carthage from vital supplies and reinforcements. Naval blockade. Rome used its navy to prevent any ships from entering or leaving Carthage's harbors. This blockade was crucial in weakening Carthage's ability to defend itself and ensured that the city would eventually fall. The Siege of Carthage, 149 to 146 BCE. After 3 years of siege, Roman forces breached Carthage's walls, leading to the city's destruction. Without a navy capable of breaking the Roman blockade, Carthage was starved into submission, and its defeat marked the end of the Third Punic War. The role of naval power in Rome's victory. The Third Punic War demonstrated how Rome's naval dominance, combined with its superior land forces, ensured its total victory over Carthage. Carthage, once the master of the Mediterranean, was unable to defend itself against Rome's overwhelming naval strength. 5. The long-term impact of naval power in the Punic Wars. The Punic Wars highlighted the critical role that naval power played in determining the outcome of large-scale conflicts. Rome's ability to build a powerful navy and challenge Carthage at sea was one of the key factors in its eventual victory and the establishment of Roman hegemony in the Mediterranean. Rome's naval supremacy. By the end of the Punic Wars, Rome had become the undisputed naval power in the Mediterranean. Its control of the sea allowed Rome to expand its influence throughout the Mediterranean world, securing trade routes, projecting military power, and integrating new territories into its growing empire. Mare Nostrum, our sea, the Mediterranean became a Roman sea, and Rome's naval supremacy allowed it to control maritime trade and ensure the security of its far-flung